Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into Parkinson's disease, but we're going to look beyond just the medication. We're going to explore a really powerful, holistic approach to managing the condition that's making a huge difference in people's lives.
And it's a topic that affects so many. Parkinson's is the world's second most common neurodegenerative disorder. We're talking over 6 million people globally. That's a staggering number, and it really highlights just how urgent it is to find the most effective care strategies out there.
So, here's our game plan for this explainer. We'll kick things off by looking at why medication alone isn't always enough. Then, we'll get into the exciting world of team-based rehab, covering everything from the core therapies to some amazing new technologies. And finally, we'll tie it all together to see why this broader approach is so incredibly important. All right, so to really understand why this new approach is such a game changer, we first need to get a handle on the problem. You see, while medication is absolutely a vital piece of the puzzle, it's not the whole picture. The main medical treatment, the one you hear about most, is dopaminergic therapy. What it basically does is work to increase dopamine levels in the brain. This helps manage those classic motor symptoms, like tremors and stiffness. But here's the catch. While these drugs are, for sure, incredibly effective for motor symptoms, that effectiveness can fade over time. And on top of that, they can cause some pretty significant side effects. Plus, and this is a big one, they don't do much for the non-motor symptoms, like changes in mood or cognition, which can be just as tough to deal with. So if medication isn't the whole answer, then what is? Well, the solution isn't just one single thing. It's about bringing in a collaborative team of experts. And this is where multidisciplinary rehabilitation comes in. I want you to picture a dedicated pit crew, but for Parkinson's care. You've got neurologists, physiotherapists, speech therapists, and occupational therapists all working together, creating a personalized plan that treats the whole person, not just the motor symptoms. Okay, so what does this team actually do day to day? Well, it all starts with the foundational building blocks of rehab. Physiotherapy is a huge component, and the goals here are super practical. We're talking about things that make a real difference in daily life, improving balance, making walking safer, and even just being able to get out of a chair more easily. It's all about empowering people to keep their independence. But the challenges, as we said, go beyond movement. Speech can become a major hurdle. Get this, an incredible 89% of people with Parkinson's might face issues with the volume and clarity of their voice. And that can, of course, lead to feeling isolated. And that's exactly why targeted therapy is so amazing. There are specialized programs, like one called LSVT Loud, that actually train patients to speak with more intensity. And the results are fantastic, leading to real, lasting improvements in how well they can communicate. It changes everything. Now, building on those core therapies, there's a huge body of evidence that supports a very simple but powerful idea. For Parkinson's, movement truly is medicine. So let's start with the basics, something we all know, aerobic exercise. Things like cycling or training on a treadmill have been shown to boost not just motor function, but also mood and even cognitive skills. And the evidence for this is just rock solid. A major Cochrane review, which is basically the gold standard of scientific analysis, found that treadmill training significantly increases walking speed. Now, that number might look small, but in the real world, it can mean a huge difference in someone's mobility and confidence. But hey, exercise doesn't have to be a grind, right? Creative therapies like dance and music are getting more and more recognition for their benefits because they engage both the mind and the body in a way that's actually fun. And the benefits are totally tangible. A meta-analysis showed that tango, of all things, leads to measurable improvements in motor skills and mobility tests. It's a perfect example of a therapy that feels a lot more like a passion than a prescription. Another fantastic option is hydrotherapy. The water provides support and resistance, which creates this incredibly safe environment to work on balance and strength, all without the fear of falling. And that safety aspect is just paramount. Falls are a huge concern for people with Parkinson's. One study found that a balanced exercise program, which is perfect for doing in a pool, led to a 37% drop in the monthly fall rate. I mean, think about that. That is an absolutely life-altering statistic. The world of rehabilitation is just constantly moving forward. And the cool thing is, the future is already here, with all sorts of innovative tech making these therapies more effective and, frankly, more engaging than ever. We're talking about a whole new tech toolbox. Just imagine virtual reality systems that create these safe, simulated worlds for balance training. Or picture exer games that turn repetitive exercises into fun challenges. And what about wearable sensors that give therapists real-time data to totally personalize a patient's program? This isn't science fiction, it's what's happening in clinics right now.
So let's pull all of this together. What's the bottom line? Why is this big shift from just focusing on medication to embracing this multidisciplinary approach so absolutely critical?
Well, first and foremost, the evidence is undeniable. The insights we're talking about today are drawn from systematic reviews and meta-analyses, which are the highest standard of scientific evidence. We're not just looking at a handful of studies. This is the collective wisdom from hundreds of trials all over the world.
And the real-world impact of this approach is just profound. As this quote from a major review points out, the ultimate goal is to improve activities of daily living, or ADLs. That means empowering people to maintain their independence and live fulfilling lives, which could delay or maybe even prevent the need for full-time nursing care.
And all this brings us to a really crucial question for the future. We're moving towards this idea of rehabilinomics, a super personalized approach that tailors therapy to each person's unique situation. The science is there. The challenge now is, how do we make this kind of transformative, evidence-based care a reality for every single person living with Parkinson's?